We're moving into this house starting today. This is our new home. Pamela, my daughter-in-law, arrived at our freshly renovated home following the death of my husband, Alexander, and she made this announcement to me. So you're telling an elderly person surviving on an old age pension to leave? You have really outdone yourself spending a fortune on renovations for a house you can't even inhabit. Pamela, never shy to voice her opinions, was hastily stopped by my son Duke.
Wait a minute, you don't know what kind of person Mom is, do you?
What do you mean by what kind of person?
Mom is...
As Duke unveiled my true identity, Pamela's face turned ashen. I'm Shirley, age 62. I share my life with Duke and Alexander, who was a CEO. The business was flourishing and we lived peacefully in our single-family home in this neighborhood. Duke, who grew up freely, joined a subsidiary of the company where Alexander was CEO after graduating from college. Duke and I have always been known as a parent and child, as close as friends. Even after Duke started working, he would often come to me for relationship advice. Recently, he told me about a girl he likes who joined the company. The same year he did.
Mom, there is this girl Pamela who joined the company with me. She's really cute. I want you to meet her.
If she's that cute, she must have lots of suitors, right?
Exactly. I've managed to take her on a few dates, but she just lets me pay for everything without showing any real interest in me.
Aren't you just being used for your money? Aren't there other nice girls out there?
I want Pamela no matter what. I won't give up.
Though I constantly worried about my son, something unimaginable happened a few years later. Alexander suddenly died of a heart attack. The day following his death were a blur of funeral arrangements and notifying relatives. When things started to settle down, I heard about the future of the company Alexander had led as CEO. Currently, the senior vice president was acting as president, but rumors were swirling that one day Duke would take over as CEO. I was shocked to hear this, having just lost Alexander and not being able to think about anything else. But it seems Duke had already heard the rumors too. Busy as I seemed, Duke didn't talk to me about it directly, but he seemed quite proud to spread the word among others that he was a candidate for the next CEO. I tried not to pay much attention to these rumors until one day Duke said he had something important to discuss. Could it be about the CEO position? However, what Duke told me was something completely different.
Mom, I'm dating Pamela now.
What, Pamela, the girl Duke has been talking about all this time from his same entry year at work? He still hadn't given up?
Yeah, it turns out persistence does pay off. Pamela herself said she wants to date me.
Duke was over the moon. His long-standing, unrequited love had finally turned around.
I guess she finally noticed my charm. I'll introduce her to you soon, Mom. You'll definitely like her.
A few months later, Duke actually brought Pamela home. Shirley, nice to meet you. I'm Pamela. We're dating with marriage in mind. Marriage? I hadn't expected things to progress so quickly in just a few months, but the two of them seemed serious. After a really short period of dating, Duke and Pamela got married and became husband and wife. The two of them started their married life in a condo, and I ended up living alone in the large house, now without my husband or son. Maybe I should boldly go ahead and remodel. I decided to change my mindset and renovate my home to make it more comfortable for living alone. However, no matter how much Duke got married and left the house, this place is still his parental home. Duke should be consulted about this matter. With that thought in mind, I called Duke to discuss the renovation plans.
You should make it comfortable for yourself, Mom.
Duke readily agreed, but the next day, Pamela came to the house alone. It seems she heard about the remodeling. Shirley, long time no see. Is it true you're remodeling the family home? Yes, I decided to make some changes to make it easier for me to live here alone. Please don't say it's for living alone. Pamela insisted, urging me to show her the remodeling plans. This number of rooms isn't enough. We never know who might stay over, so we should increase the number of rooms. But having too many unused rooms is a hassle to clean and seems wasteful. Duke even said I should make it comfortable for myself. What are you talking about? It's more convenient not to have enough spaces for guests? I told Duke that I would be advising Shirley on the remodeling today. He said that my opinion is more accurate than Mom's, so I should tell you everything I want, right? Duke said that? This was completely different from what I had heard. Plus, Duke and I might have a family soon. Considering a baby, it's better to have a child-friendly home, right? A baby. Indeed, if we have a grandchild, Pamela and Duke might often bring them over. Perhaps Pamela is even considering living here with us in the future. I scrapped my original plan of remodeling for solo living and decided to incorporate Pamela's extensive suggestions, making the house more child-friendly. When our home filled with Pamela's requests was completed, it was time to invite Duke and Pamela over. After announcing the completion, they said they would visit over the weekend, and on the weekend, Duke and Pamela arrived with unusually large luggage. We're going to live in this house from today. From now on, this is our home. I had hoped for future collaboration, but I never expected it to happen so soon. Living together, I don't mind, but as I murmured this, Pamela responded with a disdainful tone. Living together? What a ridiculous idea. Surely, you'll have to leave. I couldn't believe my ears. Wait, are you saying I have to leave? Pamela sighed heavily before responding. Are you getting senile? I'll make it clearer. An old person living on an old age pension should leave. Old person? How dare you speak to your mother-in-law like that? I renovated this house to accommodate you whenever you wanted to visit, even considering living together one day, fulfilling your wishes. Pamela laughed mockingly. Yes, it's hilarious how completely Shirley misunderstood. Did you really think we would live together? So your requests weren't about eventually living together, but about kicking me out and taking over the house? Exactly. Finally caught on, have you? I turned to Duke. Duke, were you in on this too? Duke struggled to reply, speaking ambiguously.
Pamela wanted to do it this way.
Duke was completely under Pamela's control. Pamela laughed at me scornfully. You went to all this trouble renovating a house you can't even live in. How considerate. I glared at Pamela angrily. This is my house. How dare you try to take it over? I won't allow it. Allow it? What do you mean? Surely you were just living off Alexander's charity. Your approval isn't needed. After all, this house isn't really Charlie's. It's Alexander's, right? Duke, in a panic, tries to stop Pamela.
What are you saying, Pamela? I thought you said Mom would understand if we just talked to her. It's wrong to force her out like this.
Why are you worried about Mom now? Shirley will probably just rely on Duke once Alexander's inheritance runs out. We are better off cutting ties with such a useless person. Pamela, rejecting Duke, declared to me. I was playing along with the family charade for CEO Alexander's sake, but now that Duke is about to take over the company, Shirley is no longer needed. Don't ever associate with us again. Seeing my face filled more with disbelief than anger, Duke tries to stop Pamela.
Wait, do you even know what position Mom holds?
What position?
Whether I can succeed as CEO depends on Mom.
What do you mean?
Mom was the original entrepreneur who started Dad's company. She handed over the CEO role to Dad a few years back, but she's still the chairman and holds the company's executive rights.
Are you kidding me?
It's not just Dad's company. My current company was also one of the businesses Mom managed. I got my job through Mom's nepotism.
Who is Shirley? Despite my age and having delegated my duties, I was once a renowned business executive known throughout the industry. I have been involved with numerous companies, and though I'm not involved in the daily operations anymore, I still hold a position as an executive chairman, able to voice my opinions. After hearing this, Pamela turned pale. Calmly, I spoke. Indeed, I was out of my mind to let Pamela persuade me into remodeling the house just because she said so. Just like you wanted, I won't have anything to do with you and Duke anymore. So you can just rest easy. Duke panics at my words.
Mom, wait. When you say you won't have anything to do with us, you're still going to let me take over as CEO, right? What about my position at the current company?
What are you talking about? You said yourself you would do as Pamela said, right? And Pamela told me not to involve myself with you. I'm just following that.
But the position of the next CEO?
Let me be frank. You've been acting all high and mighty, thinking you are going to be the next CEO, bossing everyone around. Yet I've heard you make more mistakes than the new employees can handle.
Why should I, the future CEO, have to do the same mundane tasks as a regular employee?
I didn't miss Duke's murmurs. Indeed, it was a mistake to allow my son to benefit from nepotism. This is a good opportunity. As I declared, I will not involve myself with you two anymore. Duke, you're also leaving our company. It's time for you two to start over from scratch.
You can't be serious.
Duke slumps his shoulders. Pamela hastily tries to appease me. Wait, surely deep down you care about Duke, right? He's your precious only son. You can't possibly mean to cut ties with him, can you? Are you dense? You're the one who said to do that. I didn't know Shirley was such an influential person. You need to take responsibility for your own words. No matter what Pamela and Duke say, I have no intention of retracting my statement. I'm cutting ties with you, and Duke is fired. Understood. Realizing I wouldn't budge, Pamela finally backed down. Then she brought up something outrageous. Then I'll divorce Duke.
What?
Duke and I said in unison. Pamela answered as if it were the most natural thing. I hate the idea of living in poverty. A man who needs to job hunt again is not suitable to be my husband. Let's get divorced, Duke.
Wait a minute, isn't it a wife's role to support her husband when he's in trouble?
It seemed Duke's words didn't resonate with Pamela at all. Why should I support someone who's neither handsome nor wealthy? You're worthless to me if you're not the CEO. Hearing Pamela's true feelings, Duke was stunned.
So you only married me to become the president's wife?
Of course, I thought marrying Duke would make me the president's wife. Believing the rumors that he would be the next CEO was a huge miscalculation. As compensation for the trouble you have caused, I'll take our current house as a temporary settlement. Now get out quickly. After saying this, Pamela left Duke behind and went back to the house. I felt speechless and disheartened, not just by Pamela's self-centeredness, but also my son's lack of judgment in choosing such a person. However, I suddenly realized something. Pamela is currently a housewife without income. She hates the idea of poverty so much. Would she really propose a divorce so easily without any financial security? Something was off. Based on a hypothesis, I started investigating Pamela. As I delved deeper, I became convinced that my hypothesis was correct. Later, when I learned that Pamela had called Duke for divorce proceedings, I decided to attend the meeting. Shirley, I thought you weren't going to involve yourself with us anymore. I have something to say to you just this one last time. Well, whatever. Let me get to my point first. Pamela, paying no attention to me, began speaking to Duke while handing him the divorce papers. Here, sign these divorce papers, and since Duke quit his job on his own, forcing me to live in poverty, it's entirely his fault that we're getting divorced, right? So I want compensation. Duke couldn't hold back any longer and retorted.
Wait a minute, it was Pamela who wanted a divorce in the first place, right? And I'm not okay with being kicked out of our home.
To the public, I'm just a poor, tragic heroine deceived by a worthless, fired husband. No one's going to side with you.
That's not fair.
Shirley might be impressive, but Duke is just a failure, dependent on his parents without any financial independence. Not just you, but even the ornamental CEO Alexander was a failure too. That was the last straw for me. While it was irritating to hear someone else insult my son, I recognized my own responsibility for spoiling him. However, I couldn't tolerate anyone speaking ill of my late husband. A surge of anger towards Pamela, which I had been suppressing, welled up inside me. Hold on. The one who should be paying compensation is you, I said to Pamela firmly. What? Shirley, just keep quiet. No, I won't stay silent and let you have your way anymore. You need to take responsibility for your actions. What are you talking about? Stop making things up just because you love your son. Can you still say such arrogant things after saying this? I presented a photo to Pamela. This? Where did you get it? In this photo, Pamela was seen entering the house intimately accompanied by a man who was not Duke. I thought it was odd for Pamela to propose divorce without working, so I did a little digging. I suspected it, but finding out you were actually cheating is just appalling. What I do after the divorce is my business, right? The divorce papers haven't been submitted yet, and I have confirmed from others that this affair started before any divorce talks. Don't underestimate my connections. But run out of excuses, have you? Then sign this document. I spoke firmly and pushed a consent form for the compensation claim in front of Pamela. This wasn't supposed to happen. Realizing she couldn't escape the situation, Pamela quietly signed the agreement. One more thing, I want you to retract what you said earlier. I spoke, still feeling the surge of anger. It's true that Duke has been economically dependent and spoiled. As a parent, I have my regrets. But Alexander fulfilled his role as a CEO admirably. He was in no way inferior to the CEOs of our other companies. I won't tolerate any disparaging remarks about Alexander. Apologize sincerely right now or I'll sue you for defamation. Frightened by the threat of legal action, Pamela apologized deeply before me. I couldn't bring myself to forgive Pamela, but I knew Alexander, with his gentle nature, would have let it go if he were alive. Fine. For Alexander's sake in heaven, I'll let go of the lawsuit, but make sure you pay the compensation. If you hesitate to pay, then remember, you know what will happen, right? Yes. Pamela nodded seriously. Satisfied that my intentions were clearly understood, I left the place.
Mom, thank you.
Duke, who followed me out of the place, expressed his gratitude, albeit disheartened. I just couldn't forgive Pamela. Use the compensation money effectively to live on your own from now on.
Understood. Let's go home then.
Home? Where to?
Back to your house, of course.
I sighed heavily. You still don't understand. You're supposed to become independent away from me, right? Instead of relying on your parents' home, rent your own place, pay the rent with money you earn, and live on your own strength. I scolded Duke sternly and pushed him towards independence.
I understand, Mom. Please forgive me.
Duke just kept apologizing to me. After that, Pamela quickly paid the compensation using the money she got from the property division and her small savings. She had almost nothing left, probably thinking she could rely on her affair partner for her future. However, when she revealed the situation to her lover, he became distant. It seemed Pamela was just a fling to him. Rejected and cut off, Pamela ended up alone. She tried to find a job again, but since her farmer company was associated with me, there was no way she could return there. Now she's probably living in a lonely, miserable life working a low-wage part-time job. On the other hand, Duke later joined a small company unrelated to me. Without the privilege of being the CEO's son, he's being trained rigorously. If Duke continues to grow like this, maybe one day we can return to being a close family like before. Hoping for that day, I'm living a peaceful life.